Today I'm taking home automation to a whole new level. In my last video I walked you guys through the basics of home automation, right? We talked about the multiple ways that the smart devices connect within your home. We talked about software you can use to control all of those devices, and we actually created an automation in my home to turn the lights on every evening. Today we are taking that to a new level. This little device that I hold in my hand is called a relay, and it can go in the light switches or any kind of switches within your home. And what it does, it's a smart device. It connects to your home automation software. In my case, it's the Home Assistant application, and allows you to control switches in your home. The reason I'm so interested in that is because I forget to turn the fan on half the time I take a shower. So we've got two separate switches here. One is for the light, where neither is working now, right, because I've disconnected the electricity, but one is for the light, the other here is for the fan. And I do forget to turn it on quite a few times. And why is that a problem? Because then the bathroom gets incredibly steamy, which leads to mold, which leads you to hate your house, which eventually leads to a divorce. So nobody likes mold. And that's why I'm going to fix that. So what we're gonna need today, I hope, right? I've never done this before. And I think that's the thing. I should rename my channel to I've never done this before. But anyway, what I think I'm going to need today is this little device which goes in the switch. I'm gonna need some screwdrivers. I got some new ones, given the opportunity. And what else I might need is this little motion sensor, because guess what? When I go into the room to take a shower, I want the fan to be turned on automatically. One last thing we might need is a switch. Now, the relay, so the little device I showed you earlier, this one, it supposedly goes into any switch. It can work out of the box, no problem. The only problem you might have is space. So there's specially designed switches, they're quite thin, you can use in cases you don't have enough space, because basically this plugs in onto the back of that. It can work pretty much anywhere. But in order to figure out if I'm gonna need this or not, I need to take this switch off, see what's behind it, and then judge. The lights are off. Let's double check. Yeah, nothing's working. I'm gonna try and take that switch off and see what's behind it. Okay, so there's brown wires and blue wires and yellow-green wire. Now I need to figure out what are those so I can actually understand how to plug this relay on. So I'm gonna do some research on the internet and come back. Okay, so I've read the installation guide was given by Shelly, the manufacturer of this little device, and I think I've got a good understanding of what I'm supposed to do. So let me show you over on this side. So this is the existing switch, right? The two lines at the bottom. By the way, make sure you switch off the electricity in your house while doing this. So the two wires at the bottom. So this is marked L1 and L1 for each switch. So these are the outputs. And on the relay over here, there is O1 and O2. To also mark the two outputs. So at the top here, the wire, this is a live input wire, so the two at the bottom are the outputs. So one goes to the fan, the other goes to the light in the bathroom. This one is the live, so the input, the electricity that comes in, and it goes into both of the switches. So this is gonna go into the L, which stands for live, and then we are going to connect the switch to the relay as well. But first, let's do those wires and then the switch. Okay, that's perfect. So the light is output 1, the fan is output 2, the light wire goes into L. Now I think the next step is going to be to install the switch. So the black wire on the switch goes into S1 according to the diagram. So let's do that. Blue one goes onto S2 over here. And now the red one goes into SX. Alright, so SX is the one on the right. It's quite hard to see, but it's the one on the right. So all the other 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s are in. There's just one, and that's gonna be the red one. Just to double check that one more time. Yeah, blue goes on S2, black one goes 1, and red one goes to SX. So tighten everything up. And I think that's done with the relay for the moment. Now there's something I want to talk about, and it has to do with installation with or without a neutral wire. So as you can see in here, we just change the camera angle a little bit again. So we've had the brown ones, which is the input live wire and the two output wires. We also have a bunch of blue wires out here, so these are neutral wires, and there's a ground wire in there as well. So the relay I've bought assumes installation without a neutral wire, and it's kind of on purpose because although I do have neutral wires, I have no idea what it is doing. There's 3 of them, so I thought make this simpler on myself and essentially buy a relay that comes with a little device called bypass and allows you to install this device without having a neutral wire. And this is why this bypass also needs to go into the light within the bathroom. And what it does, essentially, it keeps this relay powered with just a little bit of current, because you need to remember it's a smart device, right? It needs to be connected to Bluetooth or Wi-Fi in your house, and it needs to be able to do that all the time, whether your switches is turned on or not, because once you give it a command through the app or through the Home Assistant, it needs to be able to do something. So it needs to be there waiting with just a little bit of current going to it. So to repeat, I could have done a relay with a neutral wire because it seems that I do have neutral wires. However, I don't know what they do, where they're going. So I made this a little bit simpler on myself, and I got myself a relay with a bypass, which allows you to do an installation without a neutral wire. However, we do need to install this bypass in the bathroom slide, and we'll do that in a second. For now, let's put this switch back in, and then we'll move on into the light. Okay, there's quite an obvious problem here. It doesn't fit well. Look at that. There's a hole around the whole thing. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do about that. I'm gonna deal with the holes around the switch later, but let's first figure out if it actually works functionally. So the last step is to install the bypass, which is what I spoke about before, and that should be very simple. So I've removed the light on the ceiling. So one side goes to the live wire, which is, what's the color? Brown color. Insert that very carefully. Nope. What am I doing wrong? It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's quite hard, tight space. 1, 2. It needs to go a little bit more. Should be okay. And second one goes to the neutral. Press hard and nope. No, one side is not in. Nope. Come on. I think both are in. A bit terrified. Moment of truth. I'm gonna go and turn electricity on for the lights, and then we're gonna give it a go. Maybe shelter somewhere before switching anything on. Let's go. Okay, electricity is on upstairs. Moment of truth. Let's see if any of it works. That's the fun. Okay, not good. I can't turn this off. Why is that the fun? That's not supposed to be the fun. The right one is supposed to be... Oh, come on. Light doesn't work. And I can't turn it off. Not good. Oh, come on. I need to figure out what I did wrong. Maybe I need to install the Shelly app and actually get it to recognize a relay. don't know. But this is the only step I left out of the instructions, so let's try that. Let's install the Shelly app. This is Smart Control. Get the app, create a new account. I managed to log in. Yes, I will allow you. Validating email. Nothing exciting. Something went wrong. The app seems to be pretty clunky. First, no, something went wrong. Maybe I can do it later. So, widget. Basic plan users are limited to 40 widgets. Add device by Bluetooth. Or we can do it by Wi-Fi. I don't know. Scanning network. See what that comes up with. Not discovered devices. Very interesting. Add by Bluetooth. Let's try that. Scanning. Going to click on something. Nope. Something is definitely not working. I think I made a mistake with the switch and flipped the outputs. So maybe the output 1 is actually the fan and output 2 is the light. Gonna take this off, see if I can flip them, because I am pretty certain, or relatively certain, that's the problem. Because my theory is the bypass is with the light, right? And the bypass is what's supposed to power the actual relay. The relay isn't working, the app isn't picking it up at all. I think it's supposed to pick it up, which to me says that the relay is on the wrong channel, because it's supposed to be on output 1, right? And I've put it on output 2, because I thought output 1 is actually the light. So let's get that theory a test. I've switched electricity off, obviously. Oh, it was a bit bizarre, because I did not expect the fan to just keep running. It was quite bizarre. But let's see if I can flip the 2 outputs around and give it another go. I've switched them off, turned the electricity on, and now the light in the bathroom is just barely on. Not necessarily a problem, because I think one of the features of this relay is that you can dim the lights. But let me try if the switches actually do anything. That did work on the light, and that kind of works on the fan, but I have to keep pressing it. That's weird. It doesn't work like a switch, it works like a button you need to keep pressing. So actually, let me, right, look, it showed up the devices here, so let's try and configure. Doesn't need my Wi-Fi credentials. Sort that out. Go away. Save password. Add device. It's doing something. Hopefully after this it's not gonna behave weirdly anymore. That didn't work. Trying again. The app is not very good. The app has lost the plot. I'm not sure what's gonna. I'm gonna try to do it via the Home Assistant application, because you should be able to add a new device through there. And this is a Shelly device. You can see that, but let's try Shelly. What? Host. I don't know what the IP is. So it looks like you need to get through the app first before you can do anything else. Oh, wait. It's discovered 1. Come on, stop. Yes, so this is the Shelly 2L Gen 3. Yep, submit. I want that to work. I don't know why it's repeating everything 3 times. But anyway, let's say bedroom. What did I do now? No idea. Switch 1, switch 2. That's true. We have 2 switches. So, oh, that worked. Look. Maybe we're getting somewhere. Switch 1. Doesn't do that. That works. Looks like we are getting somewhere. Why the real sort of issue? Why is it not? So, well, 2 issues, right? Why is it just slightly turned on? And also, why can I not turn it on properly using the actual switch? I can only do it via the automation. Back to doing some thinking. It's some progress with the app, so apparently it had added the device previously. When it told me, it actually errored out. So what I asked you to do is scan for connected devices instead of adding a new device. And then I discovered it, and now I can actually name the device. And I'm gonna say bedroom, bathroom. One problem solved. So through the app you can actually say if the switch worked as a switch or a button. So I flipped that, and now when you click on it, it stays on. Click again, stays off. Same with the fan. The light is still just barely on in the bathroom though. That's the thing I need to fix now. Okay, a little bit of progress. Problem not solved with the light, but I think I know what's happening. So the Shelly relay recommendation is that the light uses more than 10 watt of energy. Mine is 8, so I think what's happening is that the bypass, because it's basically allowing some of the current to flow through, that current is enough to trigger the lights just a little bit. So I think what I can try is replace the light with one that consumes a little bit more energy, so maybe 15 watt one. That should resolve the problem. In theory, a few people have mentioned that they have the same problem. So I'm hoping that's gonna be the fix. For the time being, what I'm gonna do here is put the switch back on, and I want to actually get to a point where we've got an automation which is working, because we have one more device to include in that automation. And I'm gonna deal with the holes around the switch and the lights issue separately. Update. Nothing works anymore. So I put the switch back on. Everything stopped working. No idea. Not the fan, not the light. I took it off, put it on again. I managed to switch the light on in the bedroom. Not the bedroom, sorry, the bathroom. Now it won't turn off. No idea what happened. I've checked all the wiring again on the bypass, on the relay. I've tried both the Shelly app and the Home Assistant. The relay isn't responding to anything. It's not there, it's not on the network. I think the relay is gone. I don't know what else to think. The wiring is fine. I haven't changed anything. I just put it on, literally stopped working. No idea what's going on. I have a bit of an alternative, sort of. I have an idea. I've got another small relay, so this is a switch. This is one channel though, so it won't work for both switches, which is fine, right? Because I don't really care about the light. I only really care about the fan. So my idea is use the original switch so that I don't have the hole issues, the issues with the holes around the switch anymore, and try and use this mini switch, because I think this one might actually fit behind the normal switch. It should just fit in. And hopefully, just hopefully, I'm gonna be able to put it all in that box to get the fan working and the light to its normal state without the low light problem. Unfortunately, this isn't going to work, because just as I said I'm gonna try and make it work, but I realized there was a neutral cable which I said I wasn't going to mess with, but I found the problem, or rather two problems. Problem number one, when I tried to put the switch back on, I pressed the button behind and it reset to factory settings, so that's why it stopped working in the first place. I didn't know there was a button. I noticed there was a button when I started looking at this little one, because there's just a tiny button right here, and I realized this is probably the factory reset, and I probably pressed it when I put the switch back in. And then afterwards, when I was trying to troubleshoot and I was looking at the wires, I also disconnected the bypass by mistake. However, in the process of finding what went wrong, I found a new issue. Do you see the slide? How it's nice and smooth, and I thought so far that it's just really dimmed. Watch this. Do you see that's flickering? Yeah, it's flickering like crazy. Okay, I've reconfigured the device after the earlier situation. I'm gonna put the switch back on, and then we will do the automation so I can deal with the remaining issues separately. Okay, moment of truth. Please. First the fan. Yes. Now the lights. Yes. Come on, we can actually do the automation now. Okay, the light, as you can see, is still flickering, but that's gonna be my secondary problem. For now, I want you guys to get something out of this video, and I want to get the automation finally working. So I've got the motion sensor right here. So let's open up the Automator app through here, and I'm gonna go down to settings, devices and services. So the relay and the motion sensor have both been detected. So I'm gonna add them both. Yes. Bedroom, correct. So that's one device, and this is gonna be my motion sensor, also in the bedroom. I should have everything I need to create the automation. Going to overview, oops. Create automation, create new automation. So trigger, this is going to be my device, right? The motion sensor should appear somewhere, and switch motion sensor, there we go. And I'm pretty sure what it says. Above 50. It says above and below, but I don't know what it's talking about, so I'm going to just, for now, turn fan on, turn lights on, just for us to test. There we go. Turn on, perfect. And another action would like the light come on as well, perfect. And this is gonna be taking a shower automation. This is saved now, I guess, but nothing's happening. So here's the motion sensor. Obviously there's plenty of motion, but it's not turning anything on. So I think I need to go and figure out what those values were that I used in the automation, because I'm not really sure. And I will come back in a moment. Okay, I've got it. Apparently I chose the wrong thing when doing the trigger. So there's multiple options when you set up the automation with the motion sensor. The one we actually need is started detecting motion, right? So I'm gonna change that, and then, well, I thought that was gonna work. Apparently not. Let's try again. So when the in-suite motion sensor started detecting motion, then turn on. Okay, so I think I understand what's happening. So I'm looking at the logs from the sensor, and it detected motion at 5:16, which is like 20 minutes ago, and then it wouldn't fire again, because I think it's like a protective feature, because otherwise whenever I move it's gonna fire again and again. But now, so it says cleared, so no motion detected. So I think the next time I put it in the bathroom. The next time I walk into the bathroom, it should work. So moment of truth again. Let's give it a go. Yes. So we had it on a 2-second timer, right? Which actually felt like an eternity. I think I should make it like 1 second max. But it worked! Yay! Okay, I think I found a way to clear it. So it does trigger whenever I walk in. So I changed the automation to 1 second, and I've cleared the previous motion detection. Let's give that a go. Yeah, that worked. Okay, that's good. So now I want to modify my automation slightly. I'm going to only do this between 8 and 10 o'clock at the evening. You need an if condition. So the trigger is the motion, right? But then you need a condition here, and that is going to be your before and after. So this is what I want after, let's say 8:30, right? But before 10, and every single day. Okay, so there you go. You can read that properly. So once the motion sensor is activated, then if the time is after 8:30 but before 10 o'clock, turn on the fan, turn on the lights. That's pretty much what I want. Now I think what I need to do is get it to turn off as well if there hasn't been any motion for more than like a minute, because sometimes you might just walk in, walk back, not actually taking a shower, forget about it. I want it to turn off automatically, so let's put that in as well. Okay, and this is that. So basically if the sensor stops detecting motion for 1 minute, then turn off the lights, turn off the fan, and you should be good to go. Once you enter the room again, it should turn on again, so that should be absolutely fine. Okay, we'll see how this works. I might need to find a better location for it, and I think I might need to like find the right sensitivity for it, but we'll see how it works in practice and make those changes as we go. So I'm actually glad I was able to get this something in this video. I was working on another video for you guys for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and actually that didn't work out at all, and I decided not to release anything about it and today was heading to that direction as well, but I'm glad it worked out, and hopefully you guys got something out of this video as well. Let's talk about cost. So 3 main things. The blue motion, so that's the motion sensor I put in, that was about 15.5 quid for Pi hat. Be careful because I've seen it being like 23-25 quid in other places, so make sure you do a Google search before you buy. The relay that I put in here, the big one, which is actually the biggest expense of this, was about 34 quid. And again, just make sure you look for some sort of, you know, better pricing in the internet before you commit. And the switches, the light and the fan just turned on because I was in the room for about a minute. The wall switch, the double wall switch, that was about 7.5 quid. So if I'm doing my math right, it was about 35, 15, so that's 50 for you, and 7.5, so about 57.5. I know, quite expensive, but as I said, I want to experiment with it, see what I can do, right? And it might be useful, it might be not. If it's not, I won't do this again in other parts of the house. But I did quite like the exercise, and I think even if you're not like experienced in programming or even being an electrician, you can find a lot of information online. You could even pay someone to come to your home and help you install these things. But I think it's a really nice exercise in doing something on your own. Anyway, I still have to deal with the light that's flickering above my head, and I still need to deal with the holes on the switch here. But I might make a short about it, or I might put a comment on the video or something to tell you guys what I've done with it. I hope I'm actually right about the light and it's not something else. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been quite bumpy for me in the last few weeks. As I said, I spent a lot of time trying to make another video. It didn't work out, but hopefully you got something out of this one. And if you did, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.